Engineering is just the best in Wrath. New sappers for free extra damage, new goggles for a free headpiece, Jeeves the personal bank and repair bot, the new army knife, and even huge best in slot enchants. In this video, we'll cover the fastest route to max out your engineering. If you follow this guide, you'll be maxed engineering in less than 3 hours. I've put the total amount of materials you'll need on the screen now. I'll also put my written engineering guide in the description below. It'll contain exact locations of all of the trainers and materials required. Timofey Oshenko and Dalaran will be your best trainer, as he has all of the old world and TBC recipes. So let's get started. From levels 1 to 30, we'll be making 30 rough blasting powder using rough stone. From levels 30 to 50, we'll be making 20 handful of copper bolts. These will be using copper bars. After that, make sure to learn Journeyman Engineering. From levels 50 to 51, we want to make our Arclight Spanner using copper bars. Then make at least 24 copper tubes using copper bars and a weak flux. From levels 75 to 90, we'll be making coarse blasting powder using coarse stone. From levels 90 to 100, we'll be making copper modulators. These require a handful of copper bolts, copper bars, and linen cloth. Then from 100 to 110, we'll be making 10 silver contacts using silver bars. From levels 110 to 120, we'll be making bronze tubes using bronze bars and weak flux. Then we'll be making large copper bombs using copper bars, coarse blasting powder, and silver contacts. After this, don't forget to train your expert engineering. From levels 125 to 140, we'll be making heavy blasting powder using heavy stone. Then from 140 to 150, we'll be making whirring bronze gizmos. These require bronze bars and wool cloth. From levels 150 to 155, we'll be making bronze framework. These use bronze bars, medium leather, and wool cloth. Then from 155 to 175, we'll be making explosive sheep. These use whirring bronze gizmos, bronze frameworks, wool cloth, and heavy blasting powder. At 175, make sure to make your gyromatic microadjuster using steel bars. Then, from 176 to 195, make solid blasting powder using solid stone. From 195 to 200, make mithril tubes using mithril bars. Then, from 200 to 210, make unstable triggers using mithril bars, mageweave cloth, and solid blasting powder. Finally, make sure to learn artisan engineering. From 210 to 225, make high-impact mithril slugs. These require mithril bars and solid blasting powder. Then, from 225 to 235, make mithril casings using mithril bars. From 235 to 245, make high-explosive bombs using mithril casings, solid blasting powder, and unstable triggers. Then, from 245 to 250, make mithril gyro shot using mithril bars and solid blasting powder. From 250 to 260, make dense blasting powder using dense stone. Then, from 260 to 280, make thorium widgets using rune cloth and thorium bars. From 280 to 285, make thorium tubes using thorium bars. Then, from 285 to 300, make thorium shells using thorium bars and dense blasting powder. Now it's time to go to the Outlands to learn Master Engineering. Then, from 300 to 310, make handful of fell iron bolts using fell iron bars. Then, from 310 to 315, make fell iron casings using fell iron bars again. Finally, from 315 to 320, make elemental blasting powder using Mode of Earth and Mode of Fire. From 320 to 325, make fell iron bombs. These use fell iron casings, handful of fell iron bolts, and elemental blasting powder. Then from 325 to 335, make adamantite grenades. These use adamantite bars, elemental blasting powder, and handful of fell iron bolts. From 335 to 350, you'll need to make white smoke flares. You can purchase this recipe from the lower city vendor in Shatrath. To make the flares, you'll need elemental blasting powder and netherweave cloth. Now it's time to go to Northrend and become a Grand Master Engineer. Before we get to WOTLK Engineering, give the video a like. I've got huge gold making videos on the way and I really don't want you to miss out. And hit that subscribe button and click the notification bell. You really can't afford to miss out on these videos. I've got so much planned. From 350 to 370, you'll be making a handful of cobalt bolts using cobalt bars. Then from 370 to 377, you'll be making volatile blasting triggers using cobalt bars and crystallized water. From 378 to 385, you'll be making overcharged capacitors using cobalt bars and crystallized earth. From 385 to 390, you'll be making explosive decoys using frostweave cloth and volatile blasting triggers. Then from 390 to 400, you'll be making frost steel tubes using cobalt bars and crystallized water. From 400 to 405, you'll be making diamond cut refractor scopes. These require frost steel tube and handful of cobalt bolts. From 405 to 415, you'll be making serenite bombs. These use serenite bars and volatile blasting triggers. From 415 to 420, you'll be making mana injector kits. These require serenite bars and crystallized water. From 420 to 430, make mechanized snow goggles. These use serenite bars, borean leather, and eternal shadows. From 430 to 435, make noise machines using handful of cobalt bolts, frost steel tubes, and overcharged capacitors. Finally, from 435 to 450, make gnomish army knife. You'll need to make a lot, so plan for 350 serenite bars, 35 skinning knives, 35 mining picks, and 35 blacksmith hammers. Also, don't forget to make your epic helmet if you want it, and your wormhole generator to teleport to WOTLK. By now, you should be an engineering superstar. I want to hear from you in the comments below. Do you think engineering is the most fun profession in WoW? I think it's hands down the best and most fun profession. I love all the gadgets you can get. It's such a unique and enjoyable profession. If you liked this video, make sure to check out my Wrath of the Lich King inscription guide. It's the fastest, most optimized Wrath inscription guide out there.